opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we will continue to do so throughout the whole lifespan of Running Point, I guess I should say. We thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their constant sponsorship, really, of this show since day one. They've been through all the twists and turns that this show has had, and they've never lost faith in what this show is and what this show can be. They've never lost faith in YSN either, so we thank them for their constant support of not just this show, but everything that we're able to do on YSN. Today we got a great show. We're going to go back into the vault today to hear from a player profile of this year. We're going to go, like I said, we're going to stay in the fall and then go in the winter and then go in the spring. So we're staying in the fall today, and we will talk to we'll hear the interview that we had this fall with the Lakeview senior libero, Maddie Bayes, and she's always a great interview. It was maybe, I think, the third time we had her on the show this year for her career. We interviewed her sophomore year, or junior year, and our senior year, and she always brings a great interview to the table. So we're going to share that interview for you a little bit later. But first, let's go over the action that happened last night. Let's start with Class B baseball at Bob Scene Park and see what was going on down there. I'm going to put the Class B website up on the screen. You have a comment, but I don't think it's anything. It might be a. It sounds like it's a bot. It just says weird. WE''re. That's all it said. Sorry for that distraction. We're going to bring up the Class B website on your screen like we always do, and let's go over what was going on in Bob Scene Park last night for Class B baseball. We will start with 18U, and as we scroll down and see what was going on in 18U last night. Let's see, they had 4 games pop up on the slate. And we will start with Dura Edge and Avalanche. Avalanche getting the 12-2 win over Dura Edge, cooling off the Dura Edge offense. You look at this, a lot of offense for Avalanche, not a lot for Dura Edge. You had 3 RBIs from Jacob Maddox. We've said his name a ton this summer for Avalanche, his lineup. He went 2 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And those 3 RBIs, a pair of RBIs from Soren Hendrick. He went 1 for 2 with a walk. He had a pair of RBIs as well from Tyson Jakovic, who went 1 for 1 with a walk. See a lot of walks drawn. In fact, the offense total drew 8 walks on the day. Hayden Scarmack had a walk. He also had a 2 for 2 day, 2 runs scored and an RBI. You look at the pitching, which was also good for Whiting. Michael Ehrman went 3 2/3, gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits, struck out 6. And then Tyson Jakovic came in and pitched 2 1/3, gave up just 1 hit, no runs, struck out 5. So as a team, Avalanche's pitching struck out 11 batters. That's impressive. Let's go into the next game on the slate in 18U, and it was Creekside Fitness getting the 14-5 win over the Prospects. And as we see here, 1 run in the first, 5 runs in the second, 3 in the third, and then 1 in the sixth, 4 in the seventh. It was just a constant barrage from the Creekside Fitness offense. And we look at their RBI totals, and like a lot of offenses that put up the runs like Creekside did, a lot of contributions from a lot of different people. 3 RBIs from Jason Nutridge. He went 3 for 4 with a walk and 4 runs scored. That's a pretty impressive day. 3 RBIs from Tyler McEwen. Didn't have a hit, but he drew a walk and had 3 RBIs. 2 RBI day on a 2-hit day for Trent Littman. He went 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored. And then they also had a pair of RBIs from Braden Ziegler on a 1 for 4 day with a walk drawn. And just like the Avalanche game before them, Creekside had pretty good pitching on the mound. Tyler McEwen went 5 innings, gave up just 2 earned runs on 5 hits and struck out 3, walked just 1. Jason Nutridge came in and pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 2. I should say 1 earned run for Nutridge. So Creekside wins 14-5, 14 hits and no errors. You look at that, Prospects hit the ball pretty well. 12 hits. They just couldn't get that timely hitting going to score more runs. Just 5 runs on 12 hits. That's not a good ratio there. Whiting and Athletics played a heck of a game, 2-0. Whiting gets the win in a straight-up pitcher's duel. And you look at this, all the runs were scored in the first inning. Whiting scored 2 in the top of the first, and then they were shut out the rest of the game. But their pitching was up for the task as they shut out the Athletics offense as well. Only allowing 4 hits on the day, and Athletics helped out a little bit with 4 errors. Whiting had 2 runs on 6 hits, no errors on their defense. So let's look at the offense first. Not a lot of it, but there was an RBI gotten from a 2-for-2 day from Aiden Leindecker. And then they also had a run scored from Ben Miller, who went 1 for 3 with a walk. So Miller and Leindecker both score a run on their busy days. And then the pitching was the story as Mitch Long got the win. 2 2/3, gave up no runs on 3 hits, struck out 4. Zach Stearns went 3 2/3, only gave up 1 hit, struck out 7. And Corbin Sevick went 2/3 of an inning and struck out 2. So he struck out both the hitters that he faced. They give the Whiting pitching staff a total of 13 strikeouts on the day. That's a big number, and that's not exactly what the Athletics wanted to see. They pitched well too, though. I want to give a shout out to Alex Nicholson. He went 5 innings and only gave up 1 earned run on 5 hits, struck out 5. So he pitched pretty well. Definitely pitched well enough to keep the Athletics in the game, which is all you want from your starting pitching staff. But unfortunately, just not enough offense for the Athletics to get the win. And Whiting grabs the victory 2-0 in the pitcher's duel. Last but not least, in 18U last night, Astro Falcons gets another battle from Ballistic Baseball, but they still come out on top 6-4, the final score there. And the 2 runs in the top of the 6th ended up being the difference in this game. They also scored 1 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th to go along with the 2 in the 6th. Ballistic had a 1-0 lead, and then obviously the Astro Falcons tied up, but then at one point Ballistic led 3-1. All Astro Falcons from there. Not a lot of RBI action, though. Just 2 RBIs on the day for the Astro Falcons offense. AJ Havrilla went 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored, also the RBI. And then it was John Chalice. We talked about him a lot yesterday with Scotty in the house. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI for the Astro Falcons offense as well. He's having a great summer. Astro Falcons are having a great summer. They're going to win the 18U division handedly. We look at the pitching for the Astro Falcons. It was Colin Castile, going 5 innings, giving up just 1 earned run on 3 hits, struck out 10, walked 2. That is a really good strikeout to walk ratio. The Falcons pitching staff strikes out 11 as a whole, and they get the job done. And that was big because remember when we talked about their game yesterday where they did barely win, they weren't striking out hitters. They only struck out a total, I should say, of 3 hitters yesterday. So to see them get back to their groove and their pitching really makes their name with the strikeout stuff. So to get them back into 11 total strikeouts as a team, that's what you expect from the Astro Falcons. And that's what they delivered. So now, since we recapped the games last night, what's going on tonight on 18U action? We'll see. Tonight is going to be games on scene 2, 3. Excuse me. Excuse me there. Scene 3 and scene 1. We'll have Nightline versus Prospects on scene 3 at 5:30. And then on scene 1 at 5:45, Creekside Fitness versus Whiting. The Astro Falcons versus the Avalanche on scene 1 to be a nightcap at 8:15. Let's see who's going to be at the games today to call them for 18U. We have Eric Hughes, who's going to be on scene 2, which will not feature an 18U game. Scene 3 will be video only, so that game with Prospects and Nightline will be video only. There's not. That scene 2 game for 18U is a forfeit because Eagle Ware packed it in for the year. So yeah, no scene 2 game for 18U, but Eric Hughes will be there for the scene 2 game that is Class B baseball. Noah Ricks is going to be on scene 1. So those games between the Creekside Fitness and Whiting and Avalanche and Astro Falcons, those will be both called by Noah Ricks at Scene Park. Let's look at the standings real quick before we get ready for tonight's games. And the Astro Falcons way ahead. Whiting still right there, 2.5 games above Avalanche. Not much change from yesterday, just the numbers. Whiting gets another win. Avalanche 15-11. Nightline is 14-11. Creekside Fitness 13-11. So they all have the same losses, but Nightline has 1 less game. Creekside has 2 less games than the Avalanche. Ballistic at 13-13. Athletics at 12-14. Prospects at 12-14. And then Dura Edge rounds it off at 5-19. Eagle Ware 2-25. Excuse me. So that's how 18U stands. Now 16U is starting the playoffs tonight, so their regular season is done. So here's the final standings for 16U. Creekside takes the regular season as they win it with the final regular season record of 18-4. Avalanche is sitting right there with a half-game win in second place at 16-6. Astros 16-7. Whiting 16-7. Athletics 12-11. Prospects 11-12. Dura Edge 8-14. And then Ballistic is 6-16. Nightline 5-17. And Eagle Ware 4-18. As he said, the playoffs start tonight. You can see there game 1 of Creekside versus Whiting and game 1 of Astro versus Avalanche, both tonight. But there were 2 games last night in the 16U action. Want to go over them real quick as the Astro Falcons beat the Prospects 14-4, the final score there. And as you can see, 14 runs from the Astro Falcons and a lot of offense from their lineup, a lot of contributions in the RBI category on that far left part of the box score. 2 RBIs from Jacob Hayes, 2 RBIs from Rowan Urbach, and then an RBI from Tanner Stricko, an RBI from Tyler Kurlick, RBI from Anthony Treveri, RBI from Dawson Wallace, RBI from Bryson Zerwas, RBI from Chandler Morris. List goes on and on as they all had big days. Only a couple of hitters had multiple hits, but the big one was Dawson Wallace. With that 1 RBI, he also went 4 for 4. Perfect day at the plate for him, 2 runs scored. And then Rowan Urbach went 2 for 3. Chandler Morris went 2 for 3. And Hayden Warmoth was perfect at the plate, going 2 for 2 with a walk and 2 runs scored. Dawson Wallace was also brilliant on the mound, giving up just 1 earned run, 5 hits, striking out 5 in their win. So not only did he bring it to the plate, also brought it on the mound. Good job there from Dawson Wallace. A great game on his part, and that's a good way to take some momentum into the playoffs. One more game happened last night in 16U. It was Athletics versus Whiting, and Whiting got the win 10-5. The final score here. Whiting's offense led by 3 RBIs from Joey Pugh, as well as 3 RBIs on there from Tyler Hawk, who went 1 for 2 with a run scored. Also an RBI, 2 RBIs, from Ben Yeckel. He went 1 for 2 with a run scored. An RBI from Sam Patton, who went 1 for 1 with 2 walks and 3 runs scored. An RBI from Davin Friedman. He went 1 for 2 with 2 walks. Pitching the way for the Whiting roll-offs was Derek Friedman, who went 3 innings. He got the win, gave up 1 run on 2 hits, struck out 4. Joey Campoli came on and threw 3 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs on 8 hits, struck out 3. Dylan Smith also pitched 2 2/3 of an inning and gave up no runs on no hits. So 3 arms contribute to the win for Whiting, and they double up the Athletics bunch with a 10-5 win. So like we said, tonight starts the 16U playoffs. Game 1 of the series between Creekside and Whiting, and then game 1 between Astros and Avalanche. The game Creekside and Whiting will be on scene 3, and that'll be at 8 o'clock, and the Avalanche versus Astro Falcons will be on scene 2 at 8:15. Whiting and Creekside is a 1 seed versus 4 seed, and then Avalanche Astro Falcons is 2 versus 3. And those playoff series will continue throughout the weekend. As you can see, we'll go to Friday, and that'll be game 2, I believe. And then Saturday would be game 3, which is if necessary. And then game 1 of the championship series between the 2 winners would be on Saturday at 2 o'clock. So if there needs to be a third game between either one of those teams, it'll be Saturday morning. And if not, even if there are, the championship game will start after those if games. So going to be a fun end to the 16U season as they begin their playoff push this weekend. We'll have all the coverage on ysnlive.com. That does it for our Class B recap. And now we're going to go into the recap of the Little League softball tournament almost coming to an end last night. There's a couple of things to short up, and we still don't have a champion in 12U or 10U. We could have had a champion last night, but Austintown had other plans as their 12U team came in and shocked everybody in the field, not just by beating Boardman. That wasn't the shock. The fact that they dominated Boardman on the way to a 7-0 victory, that was the big surprise. These 2 teams were very evenly matched. They played each other to a 3-1 final on Friday, and all those runs were scored in the first inning. After the first inning, the pitchers were both just trading blows back and forth with each other. And you really came into this 12U championship game expecting it to be a pitcher's duel. But you look at what Austintown's offense did. They put the ball in play a lot. Emma Davies only had 4 strikeouts in her 4 innings pitched, I think. I think Fiddler came in the 5th. They really stayed away from the strikeouts. She struck out 8 the first time that they played each other. They put the ball in play and put pressure on that Boardman defense. Boardman's defense made a couple of errors, and Austintown took advantage of every single one. And then on the other side, man, Mila Hamley is going to be a name that you have to remember for a long, long time because she was electric in this game. Her rise ball was working really well, getting hitters to chase. She was working in and out on the zone. I saw the curveball working, both sides of the plate. She had a changeup that she threw every now and then that was working pretty well, but the velocity was what was really impressive. And I think her velocity was up a tick from when we saw her on Friday. I think there was a part of her mentally that was just a little bit upset at the way Friday went. She doesn't want to give up 3 runs so quickly. I mean, it was 3 runs in the first inning, and that was it on Friday. But you look at that performance, and 4 pitches into the game in their first meeting on Friday night in the Winners Bracket Championship, the 4 pitches in, the bases were loaded, and she had a lot of pressure on her right from the jump. This time around, she said no to that. I'm not gonna let these Boardman hitters jump on me early. She was a little bit more on the corners early in the counts, and then she would come in when she was ahead and make Boardman chase. I would think that was a big difference between Friday and last night. I felt like Boardman's offense was a little bit more undisciplined, chasing a little bit more out of the zone, and not being able to pick up the spin of Mila Hamley's pitches as well as they were on Friday. Now, I do think that a caveat, a point of that was that Mila Hamley did tick up her velocity a little bit. I felt like she was throwing harder yesterday than she was on Friday. Not by much. I'm not like she came in and started to throw like 6 miles an hour faster, but just a little tick of command and velocity being that much better makes you so much harder to hit, especially at this level. And I think that was a big difference. I want to also give props to Annabelle Mikesell, who came in and gave Austintown 2 innings to end it, because that saves Mila Hamley, and she's able to pitch all 6 innings if needed tonight. They didn't have to use her for 6 innings. I'm sure Coach Matt Hamley was really happy that he had a big enough lead in after 4 that he was able to go to his bullpen and trust Annabelle Mikesell to come in and finish it, and she did that really well. I think a lot of people talk about Mila Hamley, rightfully so, but under the radar, we've seen in this tournament, Annabelle Mikesell really pitches well. She pitched well against Howland in the win that got them into this game with Boardman, and she pitched really well last night against Boardman. So they forced the if necessary game with that 7-0 victory. That'll be tonight at 6 o'clock on S2. I will be there for the call. No worries. We will crown a champion tonight in 12U, and it's a winner take all. There's nothing better in sports than that game that literally is just winner go home. It's the game 7s in baseball. It's the game 5s in the College World Series. Game 3s in the Women's College World Series. There's just nothing better than the winner take all. And here we are in game 3 in the I should say game 2. Technically game 2 in the championship series, but you could say game 3 in the district series because they did play each other earlier in the bracket. So this is for the series, right? Both tied at 1 win apiece, and who's going to take home the 12U championship? We'll find out tonight at 6 o'clock, and then after that, we're going to find out if we can crown a 10U championship tonight. Canfield got their way on with a 6-2 victory over Austintown last night. They advanced straight to the championship. Austintown will move down to play Boardman tonight in the elimination game to get back to Canfield to try to take down Canfield in the championship. But man, I was so impressed with Canfield's 10U pitcher, Clara Enfield. What a performance by her. 11 strikeouts on the day. She was dealing, especially when she found her groove. Yes, there were moments every now and then where her command would get a little shaky and she would walk. I think she walked 3 or 4 hitters, but the ability to bounce right back and get right back in her groove, make the adjustments to her mechanics, and start throwing strikes again. That's what I was most impressive with, because a lot of 10U pitchers, when they start to lose command, it goes away, and it's not coming back that night. Like, that's just. But with Enfield, her ability to get that command a little bit shaky, but then zero it back in and say, no, I'm going to throw strikes, and I'm still going to strike out 11 and only give up 2 runs. That was pretty dang impressive. Canfield's offense was really good, especially in the second inning, hitting the ball hard to the outfield, making the outfielders for Austintown make tough plays that, if you're watching, maybe could have been made, but they would have been tough catches, especially in 10U softball. So hitting the ball hard to the outfield is a big bonus to your offense. and Keely Kritz had the big hit that opened everything up. That 2 RBI double that scored 2 runs right before her. The catcher Tish had a double that put runners on second and third, put a lot of pressure on the pitchers, and then Kritz came up and just hit a hard hit double to the gap, scored both runs, and I felt like from that moment on, it was Canfield's game. They had all the momentum. Their offense kept putting pressure on the Austintown defense, and there was no looking back from that moment on. 6-2, Canfield gets to win. They are 1 win away from a championship tonight at 8 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, Austintown will play Boardman, and Boardman had the win over South Range, and the final score there was 14-2 in 4 innings, as Boardman run rules South Range for the second time in this tournament to get to Austintown. So Austintown will play Boardman on S1 at 6 o'clock. The winner of that game will have to go and play a doubleheader and play Canfield at 8 o'clock on S2 for the championship. If Canfield wins, they are the district champions. If Austintown or Boardman beats Canfield, of course, well, they'll have to come back and play the if necessary game on Friday. And that would be just the way this tournament has gone. This tournament was supposed to be over, I think, originally scheduled to be Monday, Tuesday. If games on Tuesday, championships on Monday. So that tells you how much the rain last week pushed everything back, and it's been adversity. It's frustrated a lot of these coaches. There's nothing you can do about the weather, of course, but a lot of these coaches have had to have players that over the weekend had to pick between that team and a travel team, and they've had to kind of play some juggling with their rosters, but they've gotten through it, and here we are, still about to crown a champion, still about to send somebody to the state. By the way, the state tournament in the 12U is going to be starting on Saturday. It's all the way down in Ironton, and if that sounds familiar, Ironton is the team that South Range football beat in the state championship game this year. So Ironton is the host of the 12U state tournament. So that's where the winner of Boardman Austintown will go, and they'll have a quick turnaround, because if you win tonight, you go on Saturday to the state tournament in Ironton, and then of course you win that, you go to regionals. That's where Boardman went last year. Regionals is one step away from the Little League World Series. It is a long road to get to North Carolina, but I'll tell you, if you do, it's going to be a cool experience, because this year the Little League World Series in North Carolina is bringing in the Professional Softball League Athletes Unlimited, and they will play 2 games before the start of the Little League World Series. So everyone that gets there, all the players that get there, will be able to see the best players in the game, not only be there to interact with them. Like last year, they brought like 2 or 3 players just to be at the games, which was cool. And it was really awesome to see the kids just light up at the chance of seeing, I think Sis Bates was there, who is one of the best shortstops in the game right now. To see those kids just like have that superstar moment, almost like the boys get to do when the baseball brings a game to Williamsport. Softball is doing the same thing. Athletes Unlimited this year will be there for a doubleheader before the World Series starts. So if you make it there, it's a long road to get there, but if you make it there, you're going to be able to be treated by meeting some of the game's greats with Athletes Unlimited. That's a great move by Little League World Series and Little League organization to be able to give the softball players the kind of the same experience that the baseball players get when they get to see the MLB players take the field in Williamsport. So it's going to be a fun time, but that's a long way away. And before we do any of that, we have to crown a district championship. That'll be tonight at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I will be down there on S2. Ysn will have your coverage of both the 12U and 10U championship games tonight, and it should be a fun time. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll have more Running Point brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. The electric vehicle market is expanding, and Greenwood Chevrolet is keeping up. Thanks to CR Electric owner Jason Rubin, he installed their new EV charging stations, the Hubbard charging station, that is installed and ready to be used. The Austintown charging station is under construction. Make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown and in Hubbard for your electric vehicle needs, as they are going the extra mile for you in the EV vehicle race to make sure they're taking care of you. So Greenwood Chevrolet, we thank them for their sponsorship and thank them for all the belief they've put in YSN and everything we do, not just this show, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you to Greenwood Chevrolet, our wonderful sponsors. Breaking news coming from Running Point, and this is from the NFHS, which is basically the OHSA doesn't have to use every rule that the NFHS puts down, but they have made it a hard line kind of principle that if it's a NFHS rule, it'll be an OHSA rule. And here's a baseball change that the NFHS just announced for the next high school baseball season. Electronic communication devices from dugout to coaches will be permitted in high school baseball. Devices between a coach and a team's catcher for calling pitches will also be permitted beginning in 2024. That's big news for coaches in baseball, as that will be something that they'll be able to utilize now in the OHSAA baseball world next year. So big rule changes in baseball. Electronic devices from coaches to players now is getting the okay, the green light from the NFHS, which will mean it'll get the green light from the OHSAA as well. Like we are going to do for a lot of the rest of the month of July, we are diving into the vault of player profiles here on Running Point today. We're staying in the fall sports, and we had a lot of great interviews during the volleyball, football, tennis, and golf and cross-country seasons, and we are going to stay with volleyball today and go to the Lakeview senior libero who has graduated from Lakeview now, Maddie Bayes, who brought a lot of great interviews to the show throughout her career. And this is the latest and probably the last interview as a Lakeview Bulldog for Maddie Bayes. So it was a great 4 years to get to cover Maddie, and we're going to share her player profile with you here today. A dive into the vault on Running Point as we reflect on all of the great profiles that we've been able to have over the year, and we will continue to bring new content as the new school year comes around the corner. Here's Maddie Bayes from Lakeview Volleyball. Anthony Harwig here with a Lakeview Volleyball player profile. I am joined by senior Maddie Bayes. Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so when we've talked to your teammates, we've been talking about this goal of getting an NEA championship, and every time we've talked to one of them, it's been there, but you hadn't achieved it yet. Now we can finally talk about
Yes.
achieving this goal, clinching the NEA championship. Before we get into your career and your senior season, how's that feel to accomplish this goal as a team for yourself, especially the way that last year transpired?
We are just so excited and so ecstatic that we finally clinched this opportunity because last year it didn't go as planned. And now that we're seniors, it just feels so great to be able to leave knowing that we got this chance back and we finally secured the championship.
It wasn't easy this year. Not only did you have Gerard to contend with, but you had a couple of really tough games with Jefferson. You had to go to Jefferson to really wrap this one up. What was that like to just see more and more teams in the NEA be able to battle you guys?
Well, some of them clearly didn't go as planned like we wanted them to, but it's just so great knowing that there are teams out there that can help us compete and that can just give us a little run for our money just so that we can show them what we are capable of doing. So going into those gyms, knowing that it might not always come out as we want it to be, it really just helps us and motivates us to play our best volleyball that we can and just gel together as a team because we know what we are capable of. And it really just motivates us in a way that we just have to be our best and do our best and make no room for mistakes.
You are the energy spark plug of this team. Every picture we have of a celebration, you're in the middle of it. You're screaming your head off. Where does that come from? And is that something that you grew into? Have you always been kind of the energetic, emotional leader to this team?
I would definitely say that it is something I did have to grow into. Freshman year, I was really quiet. I didn't say much. I didn't do much. But once I stepped up to the varsity level, I knew that this is something I had to take on, like just a different role that I had to take on. And it truly helped me find myself in a way because I do get excited. It's just so amazing being out there and seeing what we can do and just seeing how far we can go. So just being the energy, it really helps me just help people and make sure that they know that they're okay and they're not messing up. So it's honestly just a great honor to be able to bring all of that energy onto the court. But it's definitely something I did have to grow into and learn to be comfortable with. And I'm so glad I did.
Have you kind of like thrown shame out the window and you're like, I don't care what faces I make now and I don't care how loud I get. Doesn't matter. Because like I see some of these pictures and I'm like, I could use that, but Maddie would probably be really upset with me.
Yes, because sophomore year and a little bit of junior year when they all started coming out, I was just like, okay, whatever. I was like, that it looks so bad, but it's okay. It looks fun. So just post it.
One of the best celebration pictures this year that come out has been the Tara Lytle celebration with 1,000 kills just last week against South Range. You've been playing with her for a long time. These seniors have been playing together for a long time. So as a group collectively, what did it mean to see your sister really in arms meet that goal that she's had for her whole career?
I am just so proud of Tara. She has worked so hard. No one deserves it as much as she does. As a team, we know that this is what she's been striving for since her freshman year. So it is just so great and so amazing to see her achieve this goal because we've been practicing and playing with her for 6 years now. And it's just amazing to see what she can accomplish and that she did accomplish that goal of hers. So I'm so proud of her.
You've been in that same position since you started on varsity, the libero spot. And you've been good since you stepped on the floor. So this is going to be something that's going to be hard for fans to get, but you have improved every year. What do you think you've improved the most on from last year to this year when you look specifically at your senior season?
I think that I greatly improved on my serve receive because it was just so bad last year. Like it wasn't bad, but there was definitely room for improvement. So I definitely think that with the help of my coaches and everything, that has definitely gotten better. And not only like on and off, like not only on the court, but on and off the court, I think I've greatly improved on my role to people as well. Because I'm always there, like getting people up, trying to make sure that they're okay, knowing that they're okay to make a mistake. So definitely, I think my role and my serve receive has definitely gotten a lot better.
When you talk about serve receive as a libero, does it give you that like fire if teams think that you're someone they can attack on serve? I mean, as the libero, who's known to be the best defender on the team, it's got to make you angry if a team walks into the gym and thinks to themselves, "This is the girl that we're going to attack on serve."
It definitely does, because clearly they know I'm there for a reason. It's like, why are you coming after me? But I don't take it with like anger. I'm just kind of grateful that they do it, so that I know that I can pass the ball and get it to the setter, and then we can get the next point. You know what I mean? Like,
you do a lot of the stuff that doesn't get on the stat sheet, or if it does, it gets on the bottom of the article with digs and serve receive and passing. How do you handle just being under the radar and maybe not being in the limelight like some of your other teammates?
Yeah, sadly it does happen like that, but I don't let it really affect me, because I know I'm not that flashy position like Tara or Reagan or Emma, but I'm just so grateful that I can be there to support my team, and that though people may not look at me as this flashy player, I know what I'm capable of, and my teammates know what I'm capable of. So just being there and being able to support them, it kind of cancels everything else out.
What's the biggest misconception that your classmates have had about the libero spot, or questions that you've gotten about the libero spot?
Definitely, what's the point of me wearing the different color jersey?
How many people think you just forgot your jersey and you had to wear something else? I mean, that's when I heard that, and I was like, okay.
I've had that come up a couple of times. I can't lie, but they're just like, "What's the point?" And I'm just like, "Well," and it's kind of hard to explain it to them because they don't really understand. But I'm just like, "Guys, just let it go."
I'm special. That's it.
Exactly.
When you think about that position, and obviously you have to take pride in it, and it's kind of a sisterhood to be a libero, because there are tons of really good liberos in the area. When you got it, what did it mean to you to be able to the respect that you had from your coaching staff, who does know the importance of a libero, to be saying, as a sophomore, we're going to trust you to go there and lead our back row?
Since sophomore year, it was just such an amazing honor that I was able to get that position, because, like you said, it's not an easy position, and it truly does mean that they trusted me back there. So ever since sophomore season, I just took that and I just ran with it. Like, it was just such a great honor, because freshman year, I looked up to their libero and I watched her every move. I watched her practice. I watched what she looked at on the court, and I truly didn't think that I would get that position. And knowing that I got it, it was just such a great feeling, because it was one of my goals. And even as a sophomore, I got that. And that's not something you see every day on every team. So it was just such an amazing honor, and I loved every second of that moment.
All right, so now the other thing I want to ask about the libero position is, obviously your job is to read the other hitters and make sure that you know what the other hitters are bringing to the table. How much better have you gotten since sophomore year of just scouting the other team and trying to be as prepared as you can coming into a game, knowing what hitters are bringing to the table?
Definitely sophomore year, I had no clue what was going on. I was just trying to be there and not do the most. But this year, I definitely took my time in scouting other teams, like watching them play other games, watching them live, watching them broadcasted. Even when we start warming up and the other team's warming up, sometimes I'll just stand by myself in the back, just like watching the hitters, watching how their shoulders turn, watching when they turn, watching when they go up and tip the ball. So definitely, I've greatly improved so much in that, because even in practice, I'm just watching the hitters turn their shoulders, watching them tip. So it definitely helps me be way more prepared.
Who is the hardest hitter you've had to go up against in your career?
The hardest hitter. Definitely sophomore year when we played NDCL in the district finals. I have no clue who these people are, but they had one really good middle and one outside. Those were probably the hardest hitters I've ever went up against.
Well, they do have Jared Vicious there, who is, by the way, committed to go to Nebraska to play volleyball. So I
Yes,
think
so
that's a
I've
good choice.
heard.
I think that's a good choice.
Yes.
And I think your coach has told us multiple times how happy she is that you don't have to see them in the tournament anymore.
Oh, yes.
Down in Division 3. Speaking of tournament, it is tournament time. We have the brackets out. You guys know your path to a district championship. Getting those brackets in your hand and being able to set another goal and say, okay, we've got our conference championship. Now let's go get this district. What's that been like for the last couple of days for this team?
I think we're honestly just so excited about it because we know who we're playing, we know who we're going to go up against, and we know what to expect. We've played these teams, we've practiced these teams, we've scrimmaged them. So we know what to expect, and we know where we need the most practice at in those areas once we face those teams. So there's always room for adjustment. But honestly, we're just so excited and grateful that we get this opportunity to go up against these teams and potentially come out as district champs.
We've talked about Coach Guthrie a little bit, but I want you to talk about how much he has meant to you throughout your 4 years of volleyball. And now that this senior year is here, you can get a little bit more reflective, a little bit more sentimental. How much has she helped you grow as a volleyball player?
She has helped me grow in so many ways. Like I said before, like as a freshman, I was just so quiet, did not say a thing. But once sophomore year hit and all of our other seniors left, and I needed to step up to that role, I knew she trusted me, and it is just so great knowing that a coach can trust you like that and just expects you to go out and give everything you got every single day. And not only has she helped me grow as a player, but she also helped me grow as a person, just like I said. But as a player, she is always there helping me no matter what. Even if it's just the slightest little thing, she will help me because she knows that I will take it and then I will try and do everything I can to fix it or just do whatever I can. And I know she looks up to me off the court and on the court to make sure that everything's okay and just making sure all of the players are set and that they are ready to play. So she has helped me grow so much over the years, and I am so grateful that I got to be able to be coached by her for 4 years.
Can you think of a specific example of something that maybe you were struggling with and she really was the one that guided you through it and got you to figure out what the problem was?
So sometimes when we get in serve receive ruts, it's really bad. And sometimes she'll just tell me, she'll be like, just scoot up. And then if I shank a pass, she'll be like, just hold your platform down. It's a short float serve, and that I'll just have to keep my platform down and hold it instead of just swinging my arms and then I would shank the ball if I were to do that. So she always helps me with serve receive, just making sure my platform is down and that I'm not moving it. So yeah, just my serve receive.
All right, so you go from the quiet freshman to the senior that is in charge of the team's TikTok account. That's a big responsibility. I've heard how much they count on you, and the TikToks are good. What do you take with that? How do you handle that, and how do you like the responsibility?
I really like doing it for my team, knowing that I get to capture everyone's movement, everyone's next move. It's really fun, especially because it's a team thing that we can all do together and bond over, because we're always doing just different things than them. So I really like doing it for them, and just it helps me connect with the underclassmen, and we all just get to laugh about it together.
All right, putting you on the spot. What is your favorite TikTok that you guys have made so far?
Definitely the one from Gerard. There's just everybody is being put together in one video, and we're all just bonding, laughing, having a good time. And the outcome was really good for us too, which also helped the video.
Yeah, outcomes are always easy to make a TikTok when you get that dub.
Yes.
What about some things that you want to see yourself in the future? The senior season, so we got to talk about future goals and things you want to do outside of high school.
So after high school, I plan to go to college, and I would really like to study criminal justice and criminology studies, and then minor in psychology. And then once I get out, hopefully I can become involved in the forensics end and just help investigate and detect crimes.
So when you're so sure of what you want to go into and you're so sure about criminal justice, is there a life experience or a family member that makes you want to do that, or is it just something that you kind of fell into?
There is nobody in my family that does anything remotely related to that. It's just really something I fell into because I do not want to do the same thing every day. And just a field like this is so interesting to me, and it can change any time of day. Every single day it's something new versus a office job where it's just the same thing every day, and I can't do that. So my family, they all have like office jobs or just jobs that don't tend to change. So it's really something I fell into because just being able to do something different every day and not knowing what's coming next is just such a great feeling to me.
Has senioritis hit in school yet, or are you still trying to truck it through senior year?
Honestly, senioritis hit last year, junior year. I was so excited watching the seniors be able to finish up their last weeks of school and watching their graduation rehearsals. So I'm just so excited to finally get out of high school, but I'm really scared for the real world, but I'm excited.
What scares you the most about living on your own?
Um, Paying bills, to be honest, because I don't know how to pay a bill. It sounds so stupid, but I have no idea how to pay a bill. I don't know how bills work. Like my dad takes care of those. I don't know.
We need some serious crash course before I leave this house.
Yes.
So one last thing before we let you go, I want you to be able to just talk about the impact the senior class has had on this program. And if we were to ask a teammate next year that's still on the team, like one of the underclassmen that will be an upperclassman next year, what impact that you yourself left on Lakeview, what would you hope their answer would be?
I hope that they think I left a great amount of energy on the court, and I was just a really great teammate overall because on the talking about the underclassmen, I just try and make sure that they know that they are okay when they get into a varsity game. I just always try and make them comfortable in the setting and just know that just help them know that it is okay if they make a mistake, because that is a lot of pressure. I've been in their shoes. I know what it's like, and it doesn't feel the best when you make a mistake in a varsity game. But I hope that they understand and that they can see how much energy I bring to the court and that I'm truly just trying to help them and just bond with them. So, yeah.
All right, Maddie, give a shout out to your support system and all the people that have been with you throughout the 4 years.
I would like to thank my dad, who's always been my number one supporter since 7th grade, and my other seniors on the team, since we've all been playing for so long together, and my coaching staff, Coach G, Coach Nate, and Coach Laney. Thank you guys so much for all that you have done for me for these 4 years.
All right, one last go around with Manny Bayes. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It seems like it's a yearly thing. We appreciate the time. We love talking to you, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of the way, and we look forward to talking to you in real soon.
Thank you so much.
Another dive into the vault here on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Maddie Bayes going to be continuing on in her life outside of Lakeview. Graduated, our last chance to get an interview with her last year, and it was a great one. And we are looking forward to watching and seeing what Lakeview does this year with so many seniors graduating from last year. That's an important senior class, and they're going to have an impact on that team. I think you're going to see the footprints of Maddie and her fellow seniors on that program for a long time to come. And I can't wait to see what it holds. Lakeview volleyball will be in action this fall, and we'll have plenty of Lakeview player profiles going forward. That'll do it for today's show. Want to take the time to remind everybody, once again, we will have plenty of games on the network tonight, whether it be Class B baseball from Bob Seam Park, Little League baseball from the Fields of Dreams, and also Little League softball championships from the Field of Dreams as well. I will be down the Field of Dreams DJ will be down at the Field of Dreams. Noah Doty will be down, I believe. I don't want to speak wrong. I believe Noah Doty's going to be down there at the Field of Dreams tonight. No, Joe Eusebio will be down at the Field of Dreams. Excuse me. See, this is why we double check. DJ Oakley will be down there for the 12U. Joe Eusebio will be down there for the 10U baseball games. I will be down there for the 12U and 10U softball championship. So a bunch of stuff on the network tonight. Whatever level of baseball or softball you want to watch, we'll have it covered from 10U all the way up into 18U Class B baseball. So enjoy the night. Enjoy the fun times. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Running Point from 1 to 2. And we'll see you all then.